Hey everyone, you're listening to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two friends recap romance novels while laughing their faces off and loving the genre. Most of the time, those friends are Melody and Erin, and this week, it's a new friend because it's an Ice Planet takeover! A couple of months ago, Dani asked Erin and I to do guest spots on the Ice Planet podcast so we could shout all about those devoted blue dudes and their matchmaking worms. It was an absolute blast, to say the least. Make sure you listen to the Ice Planet podcast because she recaps each book in the series with a new guest, including a couple of our favorite podcast friends. And definitely check out Dani's main podcast, Black Chick Lit. I'm including links to both podcasts and their social media in the show notes because you need them in your life. We have to send out a huge thanks to Dani for letting us be on her show. It was the most fun. And for allowing us to release these episodes. But most of all, we need to give her a shout out for her flexibility. We told her that we would probably release these episodes in late April after ACOWAR, and you all know what happened there. So, without further ado, here's Erin and Dani recapping Barbarian's Heart by Ruby Dixon.
Yay! Okay, I'm really excited.
Me too.
Is this your second book in the series, or is it your...
Well, no, it's our second because we did book 7? Is that the one
Josie?
you told us to read? Yeah, the one with Josie where she gets swallowed by the big bird.
She's so tiny.
Yeah, we did. Yes, very tiny. We did that one on our podcast at your recommendation because remember I saw you at KissCon and you said don't do the first book because of how heavy it is. You should do the 7th book. And so we took your advice and we loved it.
And I'm glad that so I said that and then I felt bad. I was like, they should probably read the first one. But other people have been like, no, I tell people not to read the first one when I recommend it. So
It's heavy.
It's there's too much rape. I can't. Too much. Like,
any rape is too much rape.
That's exactly it. Yes. So, hi, Erin.
Hey, Dani. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you. You're here. I'm so glad. I feel like I've been harassing you and Melody to get you on the show. So I'm glad we got
I've
it.
been very spacey to your harassing. Like, you'll send a message. I'm like, oh, right. I got to get back to her. And then, like, a month will pass. I didn't do... And it's not out of, like, wanting to do this. It's just, it's everything. So I feel... you weren't harassing me. I just feel like a bad friend for not getting back to you.
Well, and I was working with, like, the Heaving Bosoms. Like, I didn't even contact you directly. I was going through the podcast.
I don't have my own Twitter. So
you don't?
That's kind of... Yeah, Mel does, but I don't. So, yeah, that works.
My Twitter. Yeah. You know what? That's probably better for you because, off topic. But anyway, let's pretend.
I did briefly, and I decided I didn't want it, so...
The smart decision. I've been trying to rein back my social media and it has not been going well. Let's pretend everyone listening to this doesn't know who you are.
Okay.
Which I don't think it's even feasibly possible.
I'm Erin. I'm one half of the Heaving Bosoms podcast. I'm one bosom of that podcast. And yeah, my friend Melody and I have this show where we recap scene by scene romance novels, and we spoil them, which I think is the thing that kind of sets us apart from everybody else. Is we just do a scene by scene breakdown of everything, and we don't take ourselves very seriously, and often have to look up words and figure out what time periods are, and that's kind of our thing.
So, and you said this already. Never mind. I was gonna say only romance, but you clearly already said that. I'm
only romance. Yeah.
Falling apart here. How long has the podcast been going?
We started in October of 2017, which is weird because we and the Wicked Wallflowers, I think that's it. Oh, and Not Your Mom's Romance.
Yes, I like them too.
Podcast. All started kind of in the same month or 2 month period, I think. And so it was just kind of like this, it must have been in the air at the time because it seemed like we all kind of started up. And then after that is kind of when this big explosion happened.
Mm-hmm.
So about a little over 2 years.
Yeah, I'm grateful for it because now I have stuff to listen to at work, even though I always feel behind. Like between you, Fated Mates, Wicked Wallflower, I'm never caught up on any one
No,
podcast.
me neither.
Someone has to suffer for me to keep up with someone else. So now you're on this one. Yay.
Yes.
The Ice Planet podcast. I'm very excited. We're going to talk about Barbarian's Heart. That was another thing. I forgot to check to make sure we read the right book, but
Yes, we did. I hope.
I'm sure the outline would have been some sort of red flag. This is Stacy's book, and I'm going to say it right at top. I am such a hoe for this trope. That's the only way to say it. I am
What, Amnesia?
Well, I'm for the I love you, but you don't know, or you love me, but you forgot me trope. Like that whole, I love it. There's suffering and there's angst, but it's romance, so it's going to end happily. I'm here for it. So this did that whole plot line, I think.
I have a question for you. Did Stacy and Pasha did we read about them earlier in the series? Because I've only read 7 and then this one. Like, have they already had a love story, or is this the first time we see them?
This is like the first time they are their own hero and heroine, because in the very first book, there are a lot actually who sort of pair up really fast. They resonate and they go together really fast. And I think because Georgie's in that one, or maybe it's Liz's, they talk about it, but they do not get their own book.
Okay.
So they've always been together. She's like the tribe cook, but we have not seen them together. So
she's the tribe cook, yet she thinks if she puts a pelvis bone in the fire, that's going to be a real good skillet.
Plate. I don't understand.
She's like, why did it burn? I don't know, because it's a bone, Stacey. But anyway, all right, we'll get there.
And you would think after how many years on this planet, they know what burns and what doesn't.
Exactly. And the only thing they usually have is bones. So surely she's tried that before, you would think. But
I wonder if that, well, I mean, they can't go there now because it's destroyed, but I wonder if the Elder Cave has like an actual
I'm sure.
stove.
Yeah.
If it has a language zapping gun, it could have a stove,
So I guess at least have like a cook surface, like a flat something that you could put onto a fire.
Yeah. Oh, like yes. A sheet of metal.
Yeah, a sheet of metal. That's what I mean. That you could put on a fire and like a griddle.
A very low part. Yes. So now I have to ask you, do you know, like, how comfortable are you with, like, the Ice Planet barbarian world, the Ruby Dixon universe?
I am comfortable in that I've listened to your podcast for 1 through 3, which at the time of recording are the ones that are out, and then I read 7, and now here I am. So I feel like I get
you know your way. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I know my way around a Metlac, and it clearly I get that an earthquake happened in the last book. Yes. So I feel like I'm set up.
Okay, cool. Because I didn't know if there were any other questions, like this whole spur thing and resonance, like.
I get a spur. I understand what it is.
I mean, it's pretty to the point. I don't mean for that to be a pun, but it is.
Although I did figure out, after we read book 7, then I saw some like illustrations of these, like some fan art sort of things, and I didn't realize they had like multiple sets of arms.
Okay, 2 steps back. 1, I want to see this fan art because I am.
I will find it. I will send it.
2. Yes, spin-off series. There are
never mentioned in book 7 or book 10 that there are 2 sets of arms.
That's a different tribe.
Okay. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I'm backing down.
No, you're fine, because they are there, and I can understand if you were not caught up and you saw blue aliens.
Because I read the whole thing, and I was like, these fuckers had 4 arms the whole time, and it was never mentioned the things they could do with their multiple extra arms? Like, that's crazy. Okay, I feel a lot better now.
Yes, no, Ice Home takes everything, and Ruby's like, I'm going to 11. You've got ones with 4 arms. You've got ones that may be part cat, not entirely sure. You've got... You've got a dragon, and then you've got some who just have bigger horns than usual, which I guess, she ran out of, she 2 out of 3. So it's
something someone's into.
The horns.
I have seen the dragons, though. I've seen those covers hanging around. But.
Yeah, one of them shows up in the Ice Home series. So that's that spinoff, which is like, I was trying to think, like how Golden Girls spun off into Empty Nest, and I don't know why that's my reference.
I do, because it's a great reference. The perfect metaphor. Good job.
That's all I got. So that's what it is.
Are you going to do all those too, or are you just going to do this original set?
I would love to but so I got to get through this first because it's been kind of like, I've learned a lot.
Didn't mean to stress you out.
No, I've learned a lot about like trying to do 2 podcasts at once and like balancing the workload. If I do it, it's not going to be immediately after this one. I'd need like a recovery time. But I thought about it because again, they go up to 11 on everything.
That's fun.
Everything. So yeah, I guess Ruby learned on this series and she's like, well, we're diving in. So, okay. So we're both caught up into the universe.
Yes.
Just as a quick recap from the previous book. So the previous book was Maddie and Hassan's, and basically Ruby ripped their world apart. Major earthquake. Tribal caves are destroyed. The whole tribe is homeless. Luckily, Maddie and Hassan go out one day and they find a completely abandoned village with toilets, a longhouse, plumbing, I think. It's like ready-made to move in. It's like when you find a house and really all you need to do is paint it.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. So this book picks up with everyone getting ready to travel to the new home.
But guys, if you're out in a survival situation, sorry, I'm taking over your podcast for a sec, but if you're in a survival situation, you're trying to find somewhere to shelter, do not seek shelter in a crevasse. That's a bad idea. You are going to drown in a flash flood. That is 100% going to happen to you. Maybe not in the winter like these guys, but like, just so you know, crevasse, not a good idea. All right, moving on.
Do you think it's funnily enough, they get chased down there by some Metlocks. So,
okay, right.
Doing this podcast, I have not realized how many like plot points are pushed forward via Metlocks. Like they're always there. It's like the Deus Ex Machina of this series.
Maybe Ruby will eventually do a Metlax series and we can see all them fall in love with each other in their gross, disgusting ways.
You know they're the people. You know they're the proto-people of this planet.
But, like, I would read a Metlac book if I wouldn't have to worry about how stinky they were. But otherwise, I would read a Metlac book. And
they have to be terrible because we know that their sense of smell is kind of dulled. So for it to break through all that, like what the Kui is suppressing, it has to be ripe. It has to be. So that's where we're at. So we have Stacy and Pashov. What did you think of them?
I liked both Stacy and Pashov as characters.
Yeah.
I like them. I think as a book, I think I liked book 7 more than I liked this book because it seemed like more happened. Like there was a lot more stuff going on.
Which one, when you say 7,
am I saying the wrong one?
No, because I learned the other day that Amazon numbers them differently than how some people number them. So is that you're talking about Josie's book,
Josie.
Right? Yeah,
that
the
one that you told me. Yeah. So that one, like they were on this journey and they went to the saltwater thing and she got eaten by a bird and they discovered a spaceship and like all kinds of shit happened in that book. And this one was just like a more emotional plot, which I liked, but I do think I liked the other one better.
Yeah, it made putting this outline together kind of difficult because I was like, nothing really happens. They are trapped. They're on a road trip. It's a road trip. It's the Ice Planet Barbarians road trip book. As close to we're getting to it. They're going to another cave and they move in. And that, in terms of plot, is all that happens. I agree. Yeah, it's very much an emotional journey. Pashov has suffered quite the head injury. One of his horns completely broken off, and he has forgotten his mate and his son.
I love his little broken horn. I love that about Pashov, that one of his horns is broken off, and it's like
she had to sand it.
Yeah, and he's like, "Are you not going to be attracted to me anymore? That my horn is half gone?" And she's like, "Yeah, I don't give a fuck about your horns. I'm a human." But I think it's so cute that he has this broken horn now.
He's worried because one of the other ones, Rahash, also has a broken horn, and everyone just comments about how ugly he is.
Yeah, but he's also ugly, I think. I think he's ugly regardless of the horn, right?
I think he does have a lot of very bad scarring because of, like, an accident.
Well, now I feel like an asshole. Sorry.
Well, he's fictional. He's fine.
He's got other issues, I think, besides just the broken horn.
Yeah, so it's just weird when you, like, read these. I don't know. I mean, I guess aliens can be self-conscious. I don't know why that always throws me out. Like, of course, yeah. And so Stacy is, I assume she's like 24, 25 like the rest of them. Yeah. She's a little tribe cook with her little pan. She has a son named Pacey. And I'm so glad I did the audio because I didn't know if it was Pacey or Packy at first.
Yeah.
Even though there's a Y. So Pashup is also brother to like two of the other characters. One who we've met, Saluk. So.
Yeah, I remember Saluk.
Yeah. So when the book picks up, we are traveling to the other cave. And Stacy's all by her little lonesome, trying to pack up an entire sled. I don't know what she's doing because she knows she can't drag that thing. So it's kind of like, child, ask for help.
But she does for a while. She does drag that thing for like a whole day.
Does she?
Yes. The whole first day, she drags that sled and like nearly dies because she's dragging the sled. And fucking, I'm sorry, is it okay how much I'm cursing on your show?
Oh, please.
Okay.
Please curse.
He goes over and is like, can I help you? I would like to help you. And she's basically like, fuck off, like multiple times, even though she's gonna like die.
I guess, okay, so we've already started up how much I remember details.
No,
I guess I thought she walked the whole first thing and that Pashoff like took the sled because he's like, well, I'm not going to make you drag this sled. So he took the sled, but she walked the whole time with Pacey on her back. And she was really tired and heavy from that. And then the next day he's like, get on the damn sled.
I thought she had like a small sled. Like she had a little sled. But maybe that was just Pacey.
She does have a very little, because he comes over and he's like, why is your sled so small? And she gets very offended.
Yeah, that's what I'm remembering, because I know she dragged something. And she's just stubborn. Like,
yeah, she's kind of hard on him, too. Like, yeah. Give the guy a break. He nearly died. He can't remember shit. He's trying to, like, he's approaching you to be, like, helpful. So he does ask, like, why is your sled so light? And she's all like, she takes it as a personal insult. No one's hunting for me. I don't have any of that extra shit. And but he does, I think, after some point, he takes the sled and she just says, like, I'll walk. Yeah. Either way, they're heading out and she is exhausted by the end of the first day because she just refuses to like, accept this help.
Right. Yeah. Which is like, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of the things in this book could be cleared up by talking, which is true in many romance novels, but I buy it a little more when one person is an alien. But I'm just like, just talk. Tell him why you're sad and tell her why you're confused. Like, it's not hard, guys.
She does. They have, like, a whole bunch of miscommunications. One where he says, like, it's odd to see their two features mixed together in this baby. And then she, like, practically snatches the baby's back. And I'm like, okay, come on. He didn't call the baby. I don't know. I mean.
Yeah, she's like, he's not odd. He's your baby. And he's like, yeah, I get it. I understand. What did I do? I don't understand.
I think in their defense, she's afraid of, like, I guess he's still healing. He's still sick. She's afraid of coming on too strong and being a nuisance. And he's afraid, or he's worried because every time he talks to her, she gets mad and or upset and cries and storms off. So they're both like, I don't know how to talk to this person. Yeah, so they're trying to avoid each other altogether.
And maybe I don't know a lot about, like, Cooey science of Cooeys. But I'm surprised that they were not, like, more gravitated toward each other because Cooeys. Because, like, I remember Josie and was it Hayden?
Hayden. I've learned I don't know the proper pronunciation.
Yeah. They were like, they didn't like each other. Or at least she didn't like him. But she was, like, magnetically pulled to him in a way that she, like, could not control. And I wonder why is it not the same for these guys just because he can't remember her?
That's a good question. I think she's drawn to him definitely because she remembers. And I don't know how much of it is we're supposed to be together, so we're drawn to each other because we were previously mates and all that. But yeah, they don't feel that, like, magnetism attraction. I also wonder, so this is going back to Josie's, how long were they, like, supposed to resonate before? Like, how hard was that Cooey working to get that IUD out? And, like, it was trying to send out signals and they were just weakened. It was like a dampener. So, like, some signals are still getting out. But only with it removed.
I don't know if you listened to our episode, but we laughed so hard at the idea that, like, the IUD came out and, like, made a little, like, noise when it came out. We laughed for, like, 45 minutes straight in the podcast about the idea that it made a little gross little noise when it fell out and then, like, clanged onto the ground. Anyway, yeah, I'm sure it was working real hard.
Yeah. So I always thought that was sort of my theory with those two. I will say I don't remember that sound. I just remember, I think it was Melody. I don't sure doing the.
Well, and that's originally from our, gosh, what's that other book called?
Oh, I'm mixing them up. It was from the Gracie Goodwin one.
Right, yeah, the Grace Goodwin. Yeah, Grace or Gracie, I'm not sure. Goodwin book, but we still talked about it in the Ice Planet Barbarians book. That's the poop robot that eats her. Anyway.
Back
Okay.
to this book.
We're walking.
Yes.
We're in the snow. We're real tired.
So tired because the baby, I guess the baby's being okay. No, or is he being like noisy? I can't remember.
I don't
The baby
remember.
was, listen, I will say this. I don't care about the children. Like
I don't either. High five.
Yes. That's
I
why
don't
I haven't read
care.
any of the novellas, because I'm like,
Mhm.
they feel like they're the epilogue with all the babies. And I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm good. However, I would read a Next Generation series. I
Oh,
have
yeah,
discovered
100%.
that.
Yeah.
Age all those characters up and give them their own series, and I'm there.
So that night, she like makes her tent,
Yes.
and like has maybe made her a tent before they even embarked, which I thought was really sweet. And he like does it up for her, and she like snuggles up in it. Which I
Yeah.
thought was really nice. And he doesn't sleep with her that night.
Not that night, yeah.
He goes and snuggles up with his hunter friends.
A lot of his motivation at this point seems to be like a sense of duty. Like, I have a mate. This is what you're supposed to do for a mate.
Right.
So I'm going to make her tent. I'm going to finally decide to pull her sled. I'm going to like make things easy on her, give her a ride. So, I mean, he's coming around. He just, because I guess he's weirded out by the idea of having a mate completely, that he forgets like, oh, I should be taking care of this woman.
Well, and he's forgotten totally that humans are there and exist. So he's had to like figure out, okay, step 1, there is humans here.
He's got a lot.
Step 2, I'm married to one. Step 3, it's this one. Also, we have a baby. Like, it's a lot.
That's a very valid point. It's probably only been a few days since he lost his memory.
Yeah, because I'm sure the earthquake wasn't long ago. They can't just like stay out in the open very long. It's like 0 degrees.
No, they have all those women and children that need to be kept warm. So, that's a thing that kind of gets me, where they describe like the females need to be kept warm, and I'm like,
they need to be covered in furs all the time.
I know, and I know like females is just the word that we use in this book. It just feels like they're talking about like a herd of cows or something.
Yeah. So the next day she lets him pull her on the thing, and she curls up in his furs
because she almost keeled over.
Then there's just a lot of like her riding on the sled and him pulling it. Like, not a lot.
Not a lot of action. He does scare the hell out of her. And like, I couldn't figure out if this was an overreaction. Like, he's pulling it past this really big ledge, and she freaks out.
Yes. I don't know. I can't figure out, because she describes it as a valley. I don't know. I'm not sure if it was an overreaction or not.
Well, knowing these men, they probably would not willingly like dangle all of their families and a whole bunch of women over like this treacherous ledge of a cliff. And then when they show up at the village later, she's freaking out, going down like the one rope. So I'm like, chick, relax. Like,
is that before or after they hook up?
Which time?
The very first time. There's a time where like he goes and like sleeps with. She says it's cool to sleep with her in the tent because it's so cold. So they like share body heat. And then like they straight up hook up, and then it's like a big mistake.
Yeah, that's the night after. That's the night of the.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So like that night, she lets him stay with her because it's so cold, and she snuggles up on him and like.
We might as well just jump to that because it's just a bunch. No, you're fine, because like it's just a bunch of walking in the snow up until that point.
Yeah, it really is. And he's nice to her about her fear of heights. She's very like, this is irrational, and he's very like, it's okay, sort of. It's nice.
He was more understanding than I was. I got a little annoyed with her at this point.
Hard same.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times she's like, I'm not athletic, I'm sensitive to the cold, I can't hike around, I'm this, I'm that. And he's like, that's fine. I don't need that in a mate. I'm like, well, what do you need in a mate? Because you're in a very survivalist, like, ice planet situation, bro. Like,
we got to bring some skills to the table.
Yeah, some minimum resilience would be beneficial.
She keeps going on how for like the last 2 years she's just sat in that cave, and I got like cabin fever just reading that line. Like, not once?
She doesn't go outside because it's, like, too cold for her because she's such a wimp. And it's like, jeez.
I will say Ruby Dixon in the author's note acknowledges. She's like, yeah, she's not a tough one, our Stacy.
But at the same time, even though, like, I wouldn't necessarily pick Stacy to be my mate, I don't think my Cooey would sing to her. I was appreciative of how understanding Pashov was all the time. Was just like, that's fine. You're good. Yes. There's nothing wrong with you. It was nice.
Yes. They're all very sweet. But yeah, so let's just get to the sex scene.
Yeah, let's get to that sex.
For the most part, that's the only big plot. They've been awkward for like the 2 days of the walking. They both all misunderstand each other. It's so cold. He sleeps with her in the cold.
Yes.
And I don't even know what leads to it. Like, if like something has to lead. She's just feeling lonely.
Yeah, I think it's just like she's snuggled up on his chest and she just wants to touch him because it's been so long. I mean, 5 days or something.
It's been 5 whole days.
She's gotten to have sex with her mate. And yeah, it just kind of happens. And then, like, immediately after, she starts crying and sobbing. And
it's so awkward.
It's so weird. And for poor Pashov, he's just lost his mental virginity. Because he's forgotten he was a virgin when he resonated with her.
That's true.
And so he's just like, fuck yeah, like, this is great. I'm back in, and like, I know what sex feels like. And she's like, ooh.
She breaks down into tears.
This is her shit. It was sad.
It was so awkward and so uncomfortable. I will give her that. Like, I felt the tension in that tent because I was like, get me out of this scene.
And the reason why is, I guess they have this quote unquote joke.
Oh, I was going to get to that. Yes.
Like, what passes for a joke on the ice planet is like a low threshold. Like, these guys, they've got a lot going for them, but like humor, like comedy is not one of them.
Except for when they don't mean to be and they just don't know what the fuck is going on.
Right.
That's
like when
great.
they get words wrong. Like, that's kind of fun. But like after sex, he would grab her butt and say, no tail. Because she doesn't have it. It's observational humor, you guys.
I got the feeling it wasn't even just after sex. It was pretty much any time. Like, I got the feeling it was this flirty thing he would do where he would grab her ass and be like, I still can't believe you have no tail.
Right.
And like, she loves this. Like, she misses this. We hear about it. It's like the first thing she says she misses.
It's the first thing. It's the last thing. It is the only thing. This is the same Pashov, except for that he has forgotten this joke where he grabs her butt and jiggles it and says no tail. Otherwise, there's nothing else that's like extremely different as far as I can tell.
Yeah, he's forgotten some stuff. Personality-wise, exactly the same, except that he doesn't grab her butt, except like, he's not in passing.
Funny, quote unquote, because he's never grabbed her butt. So I guess usually after sex, he does his no-tail joke, and since instead of that, he just, like, holds her close and spoons her. She's like, ooh, you forgot our joke.
What a fucking asshole this guy is.
Yeah. Exactly.
How dare you, sir? We're being kind of hard on her, but also,
I'm sorry,
like...
yeah.
But I wasn't a fan of... Listen, I know couples, they all have their dumb little things, and this is their dumb little thing, and I'd be like, ooh, you two are made for each other, because that would drive me up the fucking wall.
And if that was the only thing you ever said that was, like, lighthearted, or if that was our only joke, that's the pinnacle of the joking, I would lose my mind, I think.
And it just shows the cooey knows what it's doing.
I guess, yeah. Can you imagine if you had a partner that just grabbed your butt all the fucking time? Like, no matter what, like, you're cooking, and he comes up and he's like, no tail, and you're like, yeah, I fucking know. Like, I'm doing laundry right now, like...
I am, like, hovering over this open flame with a bone, trying not to fall face forward in. I need you to...
Speaking of laundry...
Oh, yes.
Can we talk briefly about the diaper situation on Ice Planet?
I forget about it until it's, like, it comes up. It's god awful. There is a point where they have to stop just to, like, do laundry because they are going through the leather, like, toilet paper. Literally, because I guess that's what it is.
How in the world they found stuff on this planet to replace every single thing except for like a spongy something to soak up baby shit and pee? These babies are just peeing and pooping in leather.
Leather.
They
also use leather as washcloths. So, like, where's this absorbency coming from?
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, I don't, and all these leather diapers are just like piling up. Where? On the sleds? Ew. They found soap berries, they found potatoes, they found eggs, they found everything they need, except for something more absorbent than leather.
And, like, I had this thought the other day, like, they have big woolly type sheep animals. Like, the Navisti are just described as woolly horses. Take that fur.
Yeah. Use that fur.
Use that fur. Why aren't we using this fur? Make some cable knit sweaters. Like,
yeah. Apparently they haven't learned how to, like, weave or knit. Ruby, make a weaver. Have a weaver crash land.
Someone who knows fibers, some fiber artist needs to. So, yeah. No, I can't. And then I think about that all the time. Like, they're walking around in leather all the time. They're sweating in leather. Their babies are peeing and pooping in leather. First of all, how much leather is just floating around this tribe? Like,
yeah. Well, I talked for like probably 45 minutes on. Apparently, everything takes 45 minutes on our episode about how like Josie kept talking about like how wet she was in the leather leggings, and at one point reaches down, feels her wet, sweaty situation down there, and then wipes her hand on Hayden's fur bed. Like, you are a terrorist. That is awful. Just be like, ugh, I'm so wet on somebody else's furs. Oh, Josie. Anyway, yeah, everybody's sweaty and gross all the time.
Yes, yeah. And then now, because they don't have, like, I assume when they're in the caves, laundry's just going 24/7. Like if you have a house full of little children, your washing machine is just going all the time. On this trip, they have to be stockpiling it. Because they do, I think, at one point, stop and, like, just have a laundry day.
Yeah,
because I think
they have
it's
a
like
laundry day.
Bechdell's like the women are doing the it's written out the way the English words that the psych who don't know, like laundry. Yeah.
Laundry. Yes.
Yeah. So they have, I mean, I was trying to figure out, back to the sex because I need to get over there.
Sorry.
He gets off really, no, it's fine. He gets off really fast, and she's sort of like, she's like, well, I'll forgive him because she gets off really fast too. And I don't know why that line sticks with me, but I can't get past it because I'm like, the guy can't get a break.
Yeah.
At any point.
The poor guy has a TBI. Like, he's trying to, he's a mental virgin. Like, yeah, just and she gets off. It's not like she doesn't.
Right, she gets off, like, I think either immediately right before or immediately after.
So, I mean, like, he didn't do anything wrong here.
And I was like, you couldn't, like, Stacey, you got yours, right? Like, let him, give the guy.
She's so hard on him.
So she starts crying and he is, like, drained.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, he has his little, it's a popular highlight. I love the popular highlights because they help me out. So he's, like, I think this is now when he realizes he's not fucking up, but, like, his memory loss becomes more of a thing he wants to, like, he realizes it's a problem. He wants to actively resolve it because he has, her tears hurt me. They wound my heart. I want to be whole for her. I want to remember what I have lost. I want it so badly that my fists clench at my side and my entire body strains with frustration. And she's, like, actively crying on top of him. And awful. I'm like, poor guy.
Yeah. So he goes and sees the healer, right?
He does.
Yeah.
I liked this scene.
The healer's like, I got better things to do. I got bigger fish to fry than your brain injury.
Well, she's like, look, dude, I did all I could. She nearly exhausted herself trying to save this man. She's like, I did what I could, and now you're coming back saying, like, it wasn't enough. She's like, I did what, me and the coup did what we could. It's on you now, sir. She's a little bit like, you're a little ungrateful, Pasha.
Fair. But she also, like, at the end, he was like, well, couldn't you try a couple more things? And she's just like, I got real shit to do over here. That are, like, as if brain injuries are kind of like, that's just a brain thing. I've got real, like, body stuff to deal with right now, which I thought was kind of funny. He's like, oh, okay.
Well, and, like, also, I feel her, because she's like, because she puts her hands up, and he describes, like, feeling something. I'm also holding my hands up. I don't know why I have to do it too. He describes feeling something in his brain, so she takes a look. It's not like she was very concerned when he came by. She's like, does your head hurt? It's like he keeps insisting that she do more, and she's like, I've sir, I can't. It's all on you.
The addition of sir in the situation is so, sir. Excuse me. Like when people are like, ma'am, I'm like, sir, I have done everything I can for you. Okay.
You would be dead if it wasn't for me. Because like, yeah, so he goes to the healer. I like Malek. She doesn't ever get a book. The
healer?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Ruby's still going, right?
That is very true. Like, I've thought about, there are a whole bunch of other characters in this series who don't have books yet.
Maybe healers don't mate. Do they mate?
She has a mate. She's pregnant in this book, I think.
Has mate. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the next book is the first of 2 books where it's 2 alien couples.
Oh.
And it's interesting.
Maybe
so,
I'll
like,
read on.
You should. I think you should. So he decides he's going to try and I guess get his memory back. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
like
or is
now
this
he's decided he's going to get his memory back somehow.
Does he do that, or does this where he decides he's just going to straight up kidnap her? When does that decision get made?
That's a little later, I think. I don't know. Let's just skip to it though, because that's like the next big thing that happens. I think because they go back and forth, like, "Oh, I'm screwing up. No, I'm screwing up." But it's just in their heads, and they're trying to figure out how to kind of make a connection to each other. But eventually, he goes and talks to Vectel.
Vectel, yes.
And it's like,
I like how you said that, like you weren't sure, and then I wasn't sure.
I know there's a V and a K involved in it. Some
Vectel.
of these names you just kind of, because you've never heard them before, they're not Earth names. You just kind of skim over them, and then when you realize you're on a podcast and you have to say them out loud, you're like, Hermione? Like, I didn't...
You heard those first 3 episodes. I pronounced Saqui incorrectly for the entire first episode. And I was like, I'm not re-recording it. I'll just put it in editor's note.
Yeah, that's real, though. That's how people read. I feel like you're everybody. But yeah, so he goes and talks to him about, like, he wants to go to that Hunter's Love Nest cave. Man, that cave. That special cave?
I don't think it's the same cave every time. I just think it's like, take your mate somewhere and hide.
But wasn't it like the cave that somebody else went to?
Well, like, they're like caves hidden throughout the landscape of this place. So, because that's
wait. Rahash and Liege. Leezh.
Liz, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Liz.
That's how they pronounce Liz.
So he's going to steal Stacy away. So it says, am I brave enough to steal my Stacy away like Rahash did with Liege? Like Hassan tried when he stole Lila. Okay, so people are just stealing people away to random caves.
Yes, it's like...
I thought this was all the same cave, and I'm like, damn, this cave. You know, like, what a love nest.
Well, I mean, they've done it enough times that you're starting to think, yes, it's become almost a tradition. I think Vectel at some books snarkily comments, like, it's become a tradition now. When, like, the men want to resonate with the women, they, like, steal them away and hide away in a hunter cave. And poor Hassan, in the last book, he tries it, doesn't take. So it's just...
I'm thinking of it, like these aliens think like, oh, if you got a human mate, like you gotta take her to a cave or else it's not gonna, like, a separate special cave. Like, these bitches love caves. Like, I don't know. You gotta get your own cave.
The legend is if you're the only male around, she's gotta resonate at some point.
Exactly. Like, you've gotta take her on a cave camping trip or else it's never gonna happen.
Limit her options. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So he, like, decides he's gonna kidnap, and I think, does Vectel, he's like, no at first, and he kind of talks him, because he's not for it, because he's really over this stealing lady shit. Like, it's happening.
Well, his concern is the weather. And this is one of the issues I have with this book, not really having a plot. Because I felt like there were plots that were kind of, like, set up, and then, like, nothing, they weren't actually, none of these things actually became conflicts. Like, Vectel's issue is that the brutal season is coming, which I guess is, like, more big winter.
Yes,
more
it's the winter.
The winter winter. And, you know, if he doesn't stay with the group, he's going to get stuck in the super winter. And so, like, there's some kind of, like, weatherman alien, and he's like, no, super extra winter isn't going to come for another 5 days. And so that's when he's like, oh, I'll go off to the cave. So Vectel's worried that they're going to get stuck in super extra winter. So I assumed that super extra winter was going to get him. And there was going to be some like big, I don't know, trouble. And somebody's going to have to rescue somebody or something.
I'm still stuck on Weatherman.
Sorry. Is he not? What is he? A meteorologist alien?
Oh, something even funnier. He's kind of psychic.
Oh, he's a psychic alien.
Yes.
That makes more sense.
Like his kui, like, so Malek's kui gives her the power to like heal. His kui sort of gives him the power to see the future, but it's like a Raven. It's like a That's So Raven scenario.
Oh.
Where he
like zooms in with a bunch of circles in their eyeball.
I'm picturing that and loving it. It's like he gets snippets and he doesn't always know the context, so he's got to like figure it out.
So also like Charmed / That's So Raven.
The crossover.
Yeah.
We never knew we wanted. But yeah, so he'll like sometimes, so I guess that's a valid point though. Like the weather, two ways I'm kind of relieved because it feels like a cheap conflict.
Yeah.
But this book does need, I don't hate this book, but as we kind of speed through talking about it, you realize there's not much happening.
Right.
It's just them like, we don't know each other. We should get to know each other again. I don't have my memory. I guess I got to remember things.
Yeah. It's much more emotional plot than it is actual happenings.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know what my original point was. I was going to mix up. Oh, I'm glad she didn't go with the weather because it kind of just would have felt like something like a cheap conflict with the brutal season, because then they're stuck out there and it's been described as the brutal season lasts like, I don't know how they do time, but it lasts like months. So they would have been stuck there for a good long time and separated from everyone.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I thought that would be like they would get the brutal season would come and then they would have to decide like whether to stay there for months or like do this journey in the brutal season and like maybe die or like
maybe probably definitely die.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about the Metlack in a bit, but yeah. So he kidnaps her against her will, no consent.
Well, and it's not like he snatches her. He she's really slow on the uptake.
Guys, she sleeps all day on this sled. She just curls up in those furs, and he carries the baby most of the time, and she just snoozes all day long. And then she wakes up at the end of the day and is like, I'm so tired. And he's like, it's okay, my mate. And then she snoozes all night, too. So she snoozes on the sled, and then, like, wakes up and realizes that they're not where
the group is.
They're not with the group.
Yeah.
And she's rightfully very concerned about the situation.
Yes. I was also going to say, you know what? I don't blame her for sleeping.
Oh, no. I would sleep, too. I just feel like...
If I were in that situation, give me a ride.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would totally sleep up in those furs. I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day when she's like, what a hard day for me. It's been so hard. I need to sleep. I'm just like, cool it, Stacey. Like...
Yeah, I think, like, she's not very resilient. And, like, that... And, like, listen, you don't have to be, like... So Liz, who's Rahash's mate, is, like, held up as sort of the example as, like, the really resilient one. She goes out and she hunts. She goes back and forth and she travels around. She's really, like, outdoorsy. You don't have to be full out outdoorsy, but I need her to be able to, like, she can walk to another cave if need be.
I need her to be able to leave the cave.
Yes, like, low and I know it's a dangerous ice planet, but she's being, like, literally escorted by her own giant alien lover. She should be able to handle it. Yeah. So, but when they do get to this cave, she's really slow on catching on.
Yeah, she's slow on catching on, but I am with her on how concerned she is because they're separated from the group, which is danger times, and also brutal season is coming, which is also danger times, and then also
double danger.
He is still injured, so, like, what if he's got a TBI, so what if his brain swells or something and he dies suddenly or whatever, and then what's she gonna do?
That's very
totally
true.
Die.
Yeah,
so,
her and her baby.
I was a little nervous about her situation as well, so, yeah, and the baby! I forgot about that baby, yeah.
I've been forgot about this baby.
I wish I could forget about this baby.
I had this with another episode, and I don't know if it's aired yet. I cannot figure out what they look like. Like, how do the human and the alien mix together? Like, are they just sort of lighter blue? But then you also have Tiffany, who's, like, black, so is she darker blue? And then there's different shades of blue within the alien. Are there horns? Where's the hair in this situation? Do they have 4 fingers or 5? I can't.
I had not even considered what like different races of humans would look like mixed in with the well, I guess I hadn't even thought about what humans would look like mixed in with blue alien babies, and I kind of don't want to.
This is what happens when you read all 17 of these books.
Oh man, that is interesting. I'd like to see that fan art.
And like one of them has red hair, so I'm like, is there a blue alien with red, like a blue alien baby with red hair? Sorry, these are the things that keep me up at night now. And like when I get people on to talk about it, I was like, can you help me? What do you think happened?
Well, thank you. Now it'll haunt my nightmares as well.
So yes, with the plot. So they've gotten their little cave.
They get their cave.
Yeah. At one point, she's like she still hasn't caught on. He's like building a fire. He's hunting. She puts her things back on. And she's like, we need to go catch up with the rest of them. He doesn't just tell her. Yeah. Or is this where he does finally tell her, like, look,
he tells her then, I think, after she like puts all her shit back on and is like, I'm going to catch up with the group. And
so she's cool with it too. And like, it does sound really...
He's still not like totally honest with her though, because he's like, he says that they went to the cave. The reason why he took her to the cave is that he wants her to fall in love with him. But like what he says is he took her to the cave because she's struggling so much with the cold and is so like such a wimp, and it pains him to see that, and he knows that she needs like a little break.
Oh,
which is kind of bullshit, Pashov. I was not. Yeah,
I guess I missed that.
You know, and then he kind of later says, also, we can get to know each other, but he cloaks his primary reasoning in her needing a break from the cold. Yeah.
Well, let me see. Yeah. Well, because I have this speech highlighted, so I guess I was like, I love like their big declarations of love. And so he's like, he says, I feel my qui resonate to you. Every morning when I awaken, it sings the songs to yours. Every time you come close, it calls for you. It knows what I have forgotten, and it is time to stop ignoring what has happened. I am not whole. I am missing a vital part of who I am because I am missing you, Stacy. I want to get that back. Will you help me? So I thought he was sort of upfront. It's like memory boot camp, I thought. So.
But then you go 2 pages before, and she says, why would you want us to be left behind? And he says, because you struggle in the cold, and it causes me great pain to see it. He pulls the wrap off of his shoulders and dumps it over me, tucking it close like I'm a toddler. Because I cannot watch my mate suffer in the ice and snow one more day. And then they talk more, and he says, she's like, you know, everybody else doesn't struggle, it's just me, so we should press on. And he says, I don't care if the other humans struggle, I care if you struggle. And then, you know, keeps... So, he adds the other thing, the beautiful speech of the declaration of my QE resonating and singing to you every morning. That's like an afterthought. But I thought it was kind of bullshit, Pashov. But it was beautiful.
You're like, it's an excuse, but it's a beautiful excuse.
Yeah, beautiful excuse.
So whatever his reasonings, basically, I guess it's a little of each. Definitely, he started with you're just too weak to go on, and I'm just sick of watching you struggle.
Yeah.
And so they kind of like just put her around these caves, and again, not much else happens. He asks the story of what happened during their first resonance. And she talks about like how scared she was on the planet and how blah blah blah. And then at one point, he has her, like, sand down his broken horn.
Yeah, that's really... I thought that was a very beautiful...
It was.
...thing. And she's, like, worried it's going to hurt him. And he wants his horn sanded down. Apparently, I just love this horn thing. He wants it sanded down because he's afraid that he's going to, like, cut her or Pacey with it. And then
I was just saying, because it's jagged. Like, it was just broken off. Those sharp angles everywhere, I bet.
I thought that was really cool. And then it's the same like sharpening stone that they were using because he was sanding down some plates for her because she wants to make food and cook for him. And he says like, hey, I'll go out. She says she needs like the space potatoes that they use to make space latkes, I guess.
That's probably the best way to describe it. Yes.
I think it is. It's like a meaty space latke.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And they describe it's like a knot potato is what they call.
Right. Yeah. Like it's not Hoth and it's not all the other
potato.
things. But yeah, so he's like, I'll go get those, I'll go get. And I thought one of the sweetest lines in the book was when he says, I'm your maid, it's my duty to help you. And she's like, I don't like the thought of being a duty. And he says, it may be a duty, but it does not mean it is not a pleasure. I thought that was very sweet.
Aw, that is a sweet one. I'm highlighting it. Thank you. This is all I do with like the romances. I just highlight the sweet things that I like. Same. Yeah. So, and Ruby Dixon is good at it. Like, she hasn't run out yet. Like, I keep waiting for her to run out of like
or
super
like
mushy,
the same thing.
Yeah, super mushy takes for these alien men to do. And like, she still got them.
And they recall like his first flirting when he like threw a tongue at her.
Was that supposed to be a cunnilingus joke?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Well, he thought his mindset was that he was taking. They'd already resonated, right?
I think,
or maybe not, or maybe he was just wanting. I don't know.
They happened so fast in the beginning that I honestly don't. But yes, go ahead.
He was flirting with her either because they already resonated or because he liked her, and he pulled the tongue out of the Davitsi and was like, here you go, wink wink. And his thought was, that's the best part of the Davitsi. She's gonna chow down and think I'm like pretty great hunter guy who gave her the best part. And she was like, oh my god, he's like winking at me and handing me a raw tongue. Is this like some kind of gross cunnilingus joke? Which I thought was great.
I thought it was great too, but I was like, Stacey, that's a big leap.
It's a big leap. But also, like, can you imagine? Ugh.
Just tongues. I know that's a thing people eat. I'm gonna ignore it. Yeah, she stands it down, and then they still have not slept together since the crying sex scene earlier. Right. So do they like? I can't remember if this like. Do they heavy pet? Like, is there's a lot of heavy petting in?
Yes, because like. So at some point he goes, oh my gosh, it's set up like this big fucking mystery that we have to solve. He's going to the cache where the meat is, and the meat is all gone mostly. Most of the meat is gone, and he's like, oh my god, who could possibly be taking this meat? Like a big whodunit of the meat.
There was a whole. I make these faces because there was a whole plot line in the previous book where they sent Hassan out to like go get all the meat.
Oh.
So maybe he didn't hit this one, or I don't know. We'll just pretend.
I don't know. So he goes and there's like a lot of like slashies, and the slashies mean that the meat, or no, maybe there's like not enough slashies and the meat's gone. I don't know. The meat and the slashies do not line up, and it's like dong dong mystery. And he brings back some meat, and then they smoke all the meat, and then she's like, I smell like meat smokes. I would like to bathe. And then bathing turns into kind of a sex time. But she's so long journey, lots of walking, lots of leather, not a lot of breathable fabrics, lots of smoking meat.
Yeah.
She takes a bath out of her pouch, and then he starts taking a bath, and she says, let me help you with that. And then she washes his shoulders and then is like, how about a beach? And I do not feel like his junk got washed before the beach, and it grossed me out. The end, that's all. It's like, oh, watch that first.
Oh, I didn't put that together, and now I can't not think about it.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I from reading it, thought that she hadn't washed that part of him yet, and I was like, ooh.
I'm reading, so I'm at the part where he's cleaning her,
okay,
blah, blah, and she's a little hesitant at first, because she's like, I don't look like I did the first time you saw me naked. And he's like, woman, I don't care. And so then I'm trying to get to it.
I love that she's like, oh my god, I've had this baby and I have stretch marks. And he's like, what cool purple marks on her sides. Like, guys, if you ever have a sexual relationship with an alien, please know that they don't know our conventions. Like, they're just gonna think you're stripey. Like, they don't care about your stretch marks, these aliens. They don't know how perky boobs are supposed to be. Maybe they think they should be longer. It's fine. It's fine.
That's the beauty of alien
lovers. The beauty of alien lovers is that they don't know what conventional beauty standards are on Earth.
Oh, I'm sure.
Sorry,
I think
teats. because he does call boobs teats, and it grosses me out every time.
I hinted at this, the way words used, boobs are teats, hair is mane,
Yeah.
vaginas are always
cunts.
Babies are kits.
Yeah.
I don't know which one. There's one where a placenta is mentioned, and it's called a life meat. Enjoy
A life meat? I was just about to say that out of all of those, the only one that makes me is teats, but life meat 100% makes me grossed out.
It takes the new. Yeah. Wait. Okay. As you can tell, listen, I'm sorry. Usually I'm better at the plot because there usually is more plot, but when it's really just them talking and having sex, it all kind of merges in my mind. There is one point where she gives him a blowjob and he's like, how did I forget this?
Yes.
And I did think that was kind of that whole, like, that was hilarious. Where he was like,
that's kind of where she's like, this is actually kind of fun that he's lost his memories because I can, like, give him his first blowjob again and, like, wait till he figures out kissing and, like, all of this stuff. And then she kind of sees it as, like, a cool, fun project.
Yeah. I do not, and I guess my brain is refusing to let me figure it out. I do not know whether or not he bathed before getting the blowjob. I will, hopefully... Because it's implied they just run around in loincloths. So hopefully the loincloth just kept everything well ventilated. And it wasn't a problem. Because I can't get past that now.
I'm sorry. And maybe she watched it real good and I just skimmed it. I don't know.
Well, because I don't know if you haven't read the first one, and when that's an issue in a lot of these books. It's just like filthy humans, equally filthy aliens. They have sex like they are not bothered in the slightest, like at all. And not just like a little dirty, but like you've been trapped in a spaceship for 2 weeks and haven't bathed and are going in a bucket dirty. Yeah. And I'm like, it doesn't bring up anything, and then just right past it. So
I've confirmed. Okay. Do you remember me touching you? I asked him. The cloth hovering at his navel. So we've gone from shoulders across chest,
so going down
to navel. It's just hovering though. He groans heavily. I wish. Then you don't remember all the times I touched you ... like this? And then, I hope that's how she said it too. And then with my free hand, so this is not the cloth hand, I drag it along the length of his cock. A breath hisses, and then she goes from HJ right to Beach, and that cloth never touches.
Oh.
I know.
Oh.
Anyways.
I'm glad we resolved that because it would have driven me crazy, but I'm disappointed with the results. Let's just say that. So.
Fair enough. Okay. But they don't have sex that night. They have
full on penetrative, yeah. Because I guess I was focused more on like just how hilarious it is that he's like lying back and he's like, how the fuck did I forget about that?
I liked it too.
So they like play house. That sounds really condescending. They hang out in this little hunter cave for a few more days.
Yeah. She tells him she likes eggs. That's a
big one. And that really disturbs him.
Yes. That's the end of that plot point.
Well, it pops back up later.
It does. That's why I was like, we got to make sure we mention the eggs.
Well, I feel like she didn't really sell eggs very well. No. That's an off-topic thing. I love eggs.
Sell eggs very well.
It's not like you're eating children. They're unfertilized. It's fine.
One of my favorite parts, though, and he's like, why would you do that? You're eating children. And like, why do you love the taste of unborn children so much? Like, he's very disturbed. Yeah. And then he's like, well, I'm her mate. And he's like, would you like me to go get you some baby Devises to eat? And she's like, no, I'm not a monster who just loves baby flesh. And he's like, well, that's what you said, so I don't know where to take this.
He's like, I'm just working off what you tell me, sweetie.
Yeah, exactly. I just love that he was willing to like go fetch babies for her to eat.
That's really sweet. It's really twisted when he's like, look, this woman wants to eat the children of creatures. I will get her some children to eat.
Yeah.
Even though I hate it and am repulsed by it.
Yeah.
That's sweet. So the next, I guess, actually plot point that happens is he's out hunting one day and she's alone in the cave with the baby that we keep forgetting about. When a Metlek, who is clearly starving with a baby.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying wanders in, but like comes into the cave.
Right.
And it freaks her out because she knows how unpredictable. They keep talking about how unpredictable and dangerous they are, but for the most part, they just sort of act like any other creature you would come across in the wild. Like if you harass it. Well, I mean, I say that, but then half this book is motivated by Metlack attacks, so maybe they're onto something.
I don't know. I always imagine them as kind of like a big, like Wolverine style animal, like real fierce when it wants to be, but like not always, or like a badger, you know.
That's a new take. I like hearing how people, especially since you've only read 2 of them. So I've loved how you refer to the brutal season. I love the weatherman. Like I'm here for all of it. So I really like hearing how people imagine different aspects of this universe. That's
what I imagine their temperament being. How I actually imagine a Metlack is, this is a real deep cut reference, so I don't know if you're going to be able to follow me to this place in my brain, but like the game Ski Free. Do you remember Ski Free?
I'm already lost. Yeah, I don't know that one.
Somebody out there, hear my call. It was like a skiing game that you played on the computer with like just arrows, and you were skiing down this hill and you just moved and got out of the way of trees.
That does sound familiar.
Yeah. And then even if you got to the end, when you win Ski Free, you get to the bottom of the hill, a Yeti comes out and eats you and then is like, yay, I ate you. And that's what I imagine Metlacks look like.
Okay, so we're on the same, because I just picture an evil, I think I said the guy from Monsters, Inc. The evil monster that lives in the mountains.
Something like that. Yeah,
but evil.
The Ski Free Yeti is, first of all, like 4 pixels and also much skinnier than the Yeti from Monsters Inc. was a beefy guy.
He was built. He worked out.
Where's his book?
I mean, you already said you wanted a Metlack book, so we've already got the first character sort of drafted. Yeah. So she breaks in, whatever it is, she's got a baby. And the baby, Pacey's in one room, and Stacy's like really worried about the Metlack getting into that room. So she's trying to use her body to shield it from getting all the way into the cave.
Yeah. And she just feeds this Metlack. Like, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he leaves.
Because I think she like feels some sort of the word just escaped me, but some sort of connection to it as a mother. And so, and I think, is it supposed to be, it's the thing that stole all the meat? Like the Metlacks are the ones that stole all the meat?
What a big fucking mystery. Yay, it was a Metlack. Like, I thought it was going to be like a conspiracy, like a rival tribe or something. Nah. Or like maybe there's like another hunter, like, because I haven't read the other books, maybe somebody else broke from the tribe and it's going to be that guy that's like living out here or something. No, it's just Metlacks, like always. And then when the Metlack comes, he's not even that scary. She just gives him some meats and she's food. Like, all right, I'm on my way. Thanks, Stacy. And then the Metlack leaves. Like,
it's like peace.
Something even happens.
Yeah. Well, because Pashoff comes in and he wants to kill it.
Yeah.
He's like, things gotta die. It's threatening my mate.
Yeah,
and she like talks him out. Yeah. I feel like there are so many other books that have like a more of a hint of conspiracy and mystery, and I'm like, oh, you gotta read this one. So
no, 7 did. They found that other spaceship, and that's when they figured out that Metlacks didn't like fire. I think. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. They did like a fire thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's just when Josie figured it out. I don't know.
She does burn her hands.
Yeah.
Throwing
that thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Metlack is gone.
And so he decides, he stays up all night because he's so bothered by the fact that the Metlack got in. She was at risk. She wasn't safe. And that's sort of like, because I think he, for a while, doesn't he entertain the thought of just staying out there for the entire brutal season?
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't talk to her about it, but he does think about it.
Because he's like, this is going well. We're getting to know each other. The tribe isn't all on our back. But then that Metlack thing happens. He's like, no, it's not safe here. We have to go back.
Yeah. Lost it. Don't know what I was going to say. Sorry.
It's okay. It's just, it feels weird. Like, go ahead. You don't have to raise your hand.
I raised my hand. They did have sex, though, at some point. I don't know if it was after the Metlack left or before. But they did have that sex.
Was that the blowjob, or did they have it again?
No, they had another sex. I know they
had another sex.
They had sex when they were at the... They had, all the way penetrative spur in V sex. I know they did.
Spur.
Somewhere.
I don't think
the spur doesn't go in.
Goes in.
No, Because I was thinking of saying P and V, and then I was like, but also P and S in V, adjacent to V, sex. I swear they did somewhere.
I know they do at the end. She's all mad.
Maybe it was, I'm sorry, Dani. Maybe
no.
It was at the end.
I think again because this book is really just more like hanging out, and having sex, and they do that a lot in this book. That you sort of mix up instances. Like, is this when they had that sex, or is it this other time?
After the beach, she teaches him how to kiss, and then they do some kiss makeouts, and I thought one of those led to sex, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're on their way. They're going home.
Yes.
Or to new home.
To new home. Luckily, Ruby does it. She just it's a 5 days later scenario.
5 days later. Thank you, girl. Thank you, Ruby. 5 days later.
She knows timing. She knows not to drag the reader along on these long excursions if nothing's for the most part, nothing's happening. So they get there, and it is such a freaking hassle getting this woman into this gorge.
I mean, how does she fuck up this rappelling? I read that 50 times. So you guys, there's ropes, and you've got to rappel down into the crevasse to your fully planned out and realized city that you found.
Conveniently, yes.
It says she slips and then falls on her face or something like that.
She tries to go, and I don't think she can do it. And then I think she does. She slips, and he has to put her on his back and climb down for her. And while doing that, she doesn't sound like she's the best, I was about to say passenger. I don't know how else to make it, but it sounds like she's making it because she's squeezing him. So I imagine he's can barely breathe climbing down. He must really love this woman.
Yeah.
But yeah, she slips and falls.
But in her defense, I've rappelled down some stuff before.
I haven't, so I'm talking a lot of shit right now.
It is really hard, and it is really scary when you're rappelling down and you know that your own hands and your own if you're just rappelling down not on your own weight, you know what I mean, if you're just being lowered, whatever, but if it's your hands that are rappelling, it's real scary because what if you just slip or whatever, then you fall. You know. Yeah.
And I'm sure it's terrible, but I feel at one point after she got the ride, calm down. She has an irrational fear of heights. I did not mean to come into this I did not plan to come into this episode and just shit all over Stacey.
She makes a great meat latke and a really good what's the other thing she makes? I don't know.
Pies? Little meat pies?
Cake. Yeah. She makes cake for the ladies.
I'm trying to figure out how that works. Because what they don't have a lot of produce to work with besides the not potatoes.
Yeah. But how deep do you think this crevasse is? Because they got down it real fast.
Well, so basically it opened up. The crevasse has so many mysteries. It sounds like it opened up as a result of the earthquake. And I'm so this fully planned city was under. So maybe it was hidden under ice because it could be ice builds up and covers something that was previously exposed. And then the earthquake happened and re-exposed it. But they fall in the last book. They fall down this cliff, and it's a short little fall. But as they walk deeper, it gets further and further and further underground. Okay. To the one point where I think Hassan says it's 6 to 7 hunters tall, and they're already 7 feet tall. So that's 40 feet down into the earth.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and it's so tall that snow doesn't come in really. Because, I guess one of the ledges is taller, so when it blows, it sort of shields it.
Perfect fucking thing. Are the mysteries of the city ever revealed? Who lived there, what it is?
Not explicitly. I sort of think I know because it's related to the spinoff. So remember where you mentioned, spoilers, remember where you mentioned the four-armed dudes? Mm-hmm. So those are some of the characters from in the spinoff series. When they are looking around these homes in the last book, they note some wall paintings where there are four-armed. She's like, oh, they look just like the Saqui, only they have 4 arms.
Oh, right.
And I was in such awe of Ruby Dixon. I was like, she has been laying this down since book 7.
See, so they do get down there and there's like little carvings in all the different houses. And I thought it was like, oh, they have 4 arms, just like you guys. So it must have been a different, like, I read that differently because I thought these guys had 4 arms based on that fan art. So that's good to know.
No, it confuses them. They're like, why did they look just like you, but they have 4 arms. They don't ask enough questions about that now that I think about it. Uh-huh. Like, if you knew these guys were not native to this planet, you know they got here because they crash landed on a ship and got stuck here. Right. And you see something that looks exactly like them, with 4 arms. And you're like,
think about how they crash landed. That wasn't even a thought I had. Man, you're right.
And you never think, so there must be more.
But we skipped over a very important part, which is when he was lowering her down and she had her legs around his waist, facing him. He placed his hand upon her butt, and you know what he said?
What did he say, Erin?
No tail. Oh my God. Hahahhaha is back.
And it makes her little heart skip a beat.
Yeah, he doesn't get his memories back, but finally she can enjoy the humor of him gripping her ass and saying no tail.
I feel so bad for hating on that, but I'm just like,
no, I feel zero bad. I love these books. I love Ruby Dixon. I want to be clear, but that little part was dumb as hell. I'm sorry. It just is. I can't.
And I'm kind of glad for it, because if it had been like, if these books were in any way trying to take themselves too seriously,
yeah,
they would not be fun anymore. So I will let them.
That's what's fun about this crevasse that has like that's like perfectly laid out town for exactly the number that they are. It has like a side that keeps the snow out and whatever. And I don't give a fuck. I'm glad they found it. Good job. I don't.
It
care
has
at all
heated
that was
floors. It has heated floors, Erin.
Heated floors.
I don't have fucking heated floors.
Which brings me to, I'm sorry, this is a long episode for your show.
No, it's fine.
Brings me to, the most unbelievable part of this book.
Okay, let's hear it. Because there's a lot.
Alien barbarians that can mate with humans. There's a lot of problems. I'm not problems, but unbelievable things.
Yes.
The most unbelievable shit in this book is that all your friends and their boyfriends went out ahead of you to a city and got to choose fucking houses, and they left a good one for Stacey and no fucking way. Even if it was like my best friends in the world, they'd be like, we picked the great ones, here's yours, and it would be like the cold one on the outskirts, and they'd be like, sorry bitch, you weren't here.
Yeah, Josie runs up and she's like, I got the one furthest away?
Yeah.
I'm like, you were there. How did you not get it? That's a very valid point.
Wait, this is important shit. My friends would save me, like, the last piece of cake or something, a low level. But this is, like, where you're gonna live. This is, like, whether you have heated floors or not on the ice planet. Or whether you have to walk a mile or 10 feet to the central fire on the ice planet. No fucking way.
Or if you're near that drafty ass crevasse, because that wind is blowing.
There's something that's so funny about a drafty ass crevasse.
I don't know what I should actually properly call it.
Seriously, some of these houses are draftier than the others because they've got the shit that goes between the rocks that like makes it not. And
mortar
is like mortar. There you go. And hers is like perfect.
Yeah, they were. I was like, you know what? That's how you know that this tribe is close and that they love each other, because they played that shit fair. Someone picked her out a house in her absence, because any other situation would be like, you know what? You must be present to pick.
And honestly, like these girls, right, did not know each other before they got like spaceshipped out and dropped here on the ice planet. So it's not like they were best friends before. So like their first becoming friends was ice planet related. Like the idea that this didn't become like Lord of the Flies is insane to me, that they all like each other. Like no one's like that bitch,
no like, clicks,
none of that, no clicks, nothing. They gave her the best, warmest, bestest,
nicest house. Yeah, sisterhood. I mean, it's great,
incredible, very incredible, but I like it.
Meanwhile, Josie's next. She's going to get plucked out of that crevasse. Like, I don't even know how to say the word anymore. So Skyclaw's going to get too close and just pluck her out again.
Well, yeah, and she's like, I'm on the edge so that I can see Hayden when he comes home from his hunts first. I'm like, Josie, like, That's
I
like
love
5
her.
minutes of, oh God. If you think I'm hating on
her.
Stacey, I hated Josie. Hated her.
I like Josie in other books. Like, she's a lot more fun. Yeah.
I liked Josie in this book, what we saw of her, but man, her book, I was just like, you are baby crazy and mean as hell.
I forgot you did not like, was it Melody who was Team Josie?
She was more Team Josie.
Than you were.
That scene, I'm sorry, this isn't even this book. I'm just
It's fine.
Your whole
it's Ice
podcast.
Planet.
When she left Hayden in that room, remember when he locked himself in that room? And he just
like I could forget.
He just like kept splooging over and over all over his leathers, and he was like fucking covered in semen, just like banging on the door, like, please, Josie, let me out, because he didn't kiss her or something. She was mean as fuck. Serious.
To be fair, he treated her like shit in all the other books before that.
Oh, okay. That's the
not
problem.
Like not shit, but he was very brusque and very like abrupt with her. And he's like, "Oh, this the one again. This fucking one again." So it's like,
and that may be the reason why I was a little bit less sympathetic of Josie, is that I hadn't read all the books leading up to it where he'd been mean, because her descriptions of how mean he had been within book 7 were not sufficient to me to justify the way she was treating him. So I'm like, he gave you a mean look sometimes? That's not, like, justification for how mean you're being.
Or laughing at him after he got shot.
Yes! Laughing at him after he got shot.
Like, I have so many feelings, because that's the first one I ever read, too. So I go back to Josie's book a lot when I compare it. Yeah. No, we are off. I don't care. It's Ice Planet related, so it's fine.
Sorry.
I don't care. It's fine. He, like, was, in all the books leading up to that, like, Hayden is kind of like the tribe asshole. Like,
all right.
Like, he's like, I don't care about residents. He's like, oh, get these we need to go, get these women going. And, like, whenever Josie's around, he's like, will she shut up? Like, he's very, like,
well, because she's so talkative. Well,
yeah.
Maybe I just didn't understand Josie because of, like, if somebody was the tribe asshole, I would very much be like, but does he like me though? I would be into it.
You're like the second or third person. There's appeal because you're like the second or third host I've talked to he's like, yeah, I would love that. That would be me too. But what if he was the asshole, but particularly an asshole with you, which is sort of what the Josie.
It's more of a challenge, which is sad for who I am in my life, but it's true.
We didn't talk about Beck a lot in this book. I feel like Ruby had to like create some new character. Like she had the first batch of aliens, and then as we got along, like some new aliens got added to the tribe who were not described in like the first book, and Beck is one of them. Beck and Taoshin, because Beck is such an asshole. There's a part where they're stopped to change a diaper on that cliff, and he comes running up, and he's like, "What the fuck? What's the hold up? Can we go?
Can we go? Why are you here?" He's like, "My mate's afraid of heights," and he's like, "Oh, Jesus."
Yes. And then he's like yelling, and he's like constantly needling. We didn't talk about the other hunters, like constantly harassing.
Herrick makes a joke about like, "Hey, I'm gonna fuck your mate."
Or he's like, "Remember where we shared her?" And
no, he says, "Do you remember when you shared your mate with me in your furs?" I remember that because it was like, "Ugh, gross." And Pashov is pissed about that joke for the next month.
Oh, for the rest of the book, he will not get over it. And then, but Beck is all like, just, that's your mate. Why aren't you taking care of her? Nothing comes before a mate, blah, blah, blah. And then Pashov says something like smartackly, like, what the fuck do you know about mates? And he gets
have one.
super offended because Beck had a pleasure mate who left him.
Oh, I love the term pleasure mate.
Because he's an asshole.
Wait, we have to, okay. So, they get down there. She's got her house. They picked out a house for her and Pashov. But Pashov is like, no, I'm going to go snuggle up with the hunters.
Yeah.
And this really pisses her off.
Makes her upset.
But it's a total misunderstanding.
Yeah. Because before that, he even says, let's go see your house. And she's like, my house, not our house. Because he still wants to give her space. And he's like, if she invites me into the house, I will come, but I will not presume, is how he sees it.
Yeah. And then she's like, he doesn't want to come into the house. It's just one of these like dumb miscommunications.
Yeah. Just ask him.
Then he decides to go get, so I guess there's a flock of dirt beaks.
This is the first time they are seen in the whole series, by the way.
Of course.
So
well,
this is brand new. Brand new.
There's a flock of dirt beaks.
Not just like a flock. There's like apparently a wall. Like I just visualize a wall of like
I imagine
dirty nest.
Similar to how puffins are. Like puffins will be on a whole wall like that, and there'll just be like tons of them on a cliff face.
I gotta go look up puffins now.
Yeah. We'll just come up to Alaska. We'll go on a little adventure and check out some puffins. But yeah, they're just like all on a cliff face, like hundreds of them in their shit nests because they nest in shit.
Dung is used for everything on this planet.
Which these aliens are real like, they nest in shit. You went out there to get some fucking dirt beak nests so that you could burn them in your houses.
Yeah.
To cook over. So like, don't be elitist about like who uses shit for what. Because you use shit to cook. So
it's the ice planet. You're not above using shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like Jesus.
Yes. It's so he's like, well, they're there to get the nest, and he like decides this is the perfect opportunity to get some eggs for what's her name? Stacy. I just forgot her damn name. Stacy. And so he climbs up to get some, and he like pretends to fall off the edge of this cliff, and it freaks Stacy the hell out.
Saw this in your episode outline. I thought this was an accident.
Oh.
So this was definitely an intentional prank?
Maybe it's a little of both. Maybe he really did fall, but he wasn't hurt, and he pretended to be more injured. But at some point, it is like, because he gets up and he's laughing, and he's like, oh, it's a joke. It's a prank. Ha ha ha. Did I make that up? Like, sometimes I don't mean it.
He did get up laughing, but I thought he just thought it was fun. Like, he was just like, oh, I felt like no big deal laughing. But maybe if it was a prank, that is like a big hit on Pashov, because like she is real fragile and is always concerned about his health, and that was a big asshole move, Pashov.
Well, maybe he didn't. I thought it was like then he falls backward onto the canyon floor, and I'm screaming. This is my worst nightmare come to life all over again. Farley, Herrick, and I all rush forward, but we won't be in time. Pashov lands on his back with a sickening crash, then lies still. A sob escapes my throat, and I fling myself to his side. His eyes are closed, his body's still, and my world feels like it's ending all over again. I grab the front of his tunic, shake him, terrified. Pashov! He opens his eyes. Pashov gives me a slow smile and cups my face, pulling my mouth in for a kiss. What the fuck? And then I rear back, both relieved and shocked, even as Farley and Herrick break into laughter. Pashov grins too. It is not so big a fall, he tells me.
Yeah, I think Farley and, Herrick, who else is there, are just making fun of her for being over dramatic about the situation.
Okay. So I completely misread that.
Well, no, you may be right. I have no idea, but like I read it the other way. But man, if he intentionally fell off that thing just to make like a joke, he's an asshole, and I am no longer supportive of this relationship.
I think now that I read it and not reading it through that lens, I think maybe it was a real fall. It didn't hurt him as bad, and and when she overreacts and comes over and like is shaking him, he just kisses her, which is probably less of a jerky thing to do than pretending to fall off of a cliff.
I think he opens his eyes and he's happy to see her there, and he smiles and he kisses her.
Okay, that's a much more generous reading than what I did, where he intentionally threw himself off.
Apparently, I only read in like a mean-spirited way with regard to Stacy and not Pashov.
I am an equal opportunity asshole reader, it turns out. So, okay, I like that reading a lot better, and I'm relieved. Yes, let's go with that. So she storms off, and he chases after her. And, like, they have, like, another little fight. And this is where they have this discussion they should have had before.
Right. About him going into her house and them loving each other. And they clear it up, and then that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, because at first I thought they resonated here, but they don't. It's in the epilogue. Yeah. Where his memories are slowly coming back.
Yeah. Here's Here's the thing. I don't read epilogues, so I don't know.
Like, I just on principle.
I do. I have a principle. I don't like epilogues. I feel like when the book is over, it's over. And I don't want an epilogue. I don't want a novella. I don't care. When the book is done, it's done. I'm done with it. I don't read an epilogue.
You missed a lot then.
If it was important, it should have been the final chapter of the book. That's how I feel about an epilogue. So tell me all about it, I guess.
And the epilogue, so he makes her a new plate, a new pan.
Oh, beautiful.
They're like playing with Pacey, who's learning how to walk. He builds her a new pan so that she can like cook again. And then as he's leaving, they start to resonate. And they don't have sex then, but like they're excited because she's like, oh, my family's coming back. It's growing. We're back together as a family. And that's really the end of it. The new pan and the resonance are the big moments from the epilogue.
Yeah. That's important stuff. The thing is, usually epilogues in traditional romance novels are like, and they had a baby, so their lives are complete. And I have a lot of resentment toward that. I'm just like, couldn't you just like let it be where it was? Like, you don't need to have a baby for your life to be, or your love to be complete with somebody. Anyway.
I mean, I agree. Yeah. So I don't know the difference between like, in terms of this book, like an epilogue versus just a last chapter. I mean, it does take place 2 months later. Maybe it's just like a shorthand for like a time jump.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're in their cave. They're gonna have another baby, another resonance. I was worried because almost every book has a resonance. So I was like, well, it's got to pop up at some point, and it did on page 299 of a 300-page book.
Resonate? So so when he loses his memory, has his Kui lost its memory? Like, because I feel like it's already had been done resonated with her Kui. You know,
you can resonate more than once to a person.
Oh, I did not know that.
Hayden and Josie have resonated like 4 times. They have like they have more kids than anybody else in this tribe.
Yeah, Josie's fucking baby crazy. She loves a baby.
Yeah. So anytime there has to be resonance for there to be a baby.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's like a situational. I guess I was about to say something with like fertile. I don't know how that works.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay out of that.
So you resonate when it's like time to get it on and make a baby.
Yes, and you can resonate multiple times. Now, I don't know. What would be weird is what happens if you resonate to one partner and then your Kui like changes its mind and has to resonate to somebody else.
I thought this was very fated mates, and then like the resonance was like the Kui choosing the other Kui. I didn't realize that. I mean, it is kind of that first time, but I didn't realize it was like it's kind of like heat or something. Like it's a cycle it goes through.
Yeah. And I think it is. I think your resonance mate will always be your resonance mate. Like that's who you resonate to all the time. I was just throwing that other hypothetical out there.
Yeah.
Just to be like,
interesting.
What if you got a wishy-washy Kui? Like it just doesn't know what it wants.
That would be really fun if like a Kui was just like, nah, never mind.
That last baby was kind of funny looking. We need to pick somebody else.
It looked odd.
Didn't like. So yeah, so that's that. They are happily in their new home. This was, road trip book, and not much happened. But I did like it. That's good, yeah.
I think I would like any Ruby Dixon book. I like how she writes, and I like this world and how unapologetically bonkers it is.
It's so fun, yeah. We're like setting poop on fire for fuel, and
it's just so convenient. Anytime there's a problem, there's something to like fix it immediately, and you don't like. I love that it's in this other place where you can just like have a crevice that has like a total fully town in it, and you don't have to worry about Earth rules, you know?
Yeah. Was I saying crevasse? I don't even know that. It's crevice. That is how you say it.
It's both things. I think it's crevasse. I think it's crevice. I think it's both things. I think I've said it both ways.
I don't know why I'm in podcasting because I can't say words. It's truly not my space.
Have you listened to our podcast? It's rough.
I did listen. What was it? Croquet and Bouche. They were like, and I was like, "Is that how you say it?"
But we live on the podcast had to look up how to say it and I was trying to like read a beautiful passage out loud, and then I was like, "Oh, that's a word I don't know," so I have to skip it.
Yep. So that's it. That's Stacy and Pashoff. It sounds like his memory. He still doesn't have all his memories back. They're just like slowly coming back, but it's not a big a deal because he loves her anyway, regardless of his memories. So
I also like that. I like that. I thought when he fell off of the dirt beak wall, he was going to get his memories back.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't do like the sitcom route where like it just takes another hit to the head.
Yeah, I really thought that's where it was going, and I was going to be fine with it because it's like campy and whatever. But I'm kind of glad that that's not the way she went. Yeah.
So that's it. You have now read 2.
Woo!
And I've picked both of them, which is just weird.
Yeah. So you pick the next one for me too.
Oh, Melody. I don't. Maybe I'll leave this in. Maybe I'll cut it out. Melody's gonna do Barbarian's Choice. Which is a whole new level of bonkers because...
Yes, good. She does a good bonkers.
Yes, because more aliens are coming.
Yes. Okay, good.
So, that's it. So, I mean, you all have definitely read Crazier. Like the intergalactic bridals.
The Interstellar Brides series by Grace Goodwin, where like double penetration has to save the world. And usually like 2 people who are closely related to each other, twins, brothers, cousins, have to DP you and come at the same time in order for like some big plot point to happen.
How many of those have you read?
I've read 1. Melody has read like 12. She loves them, which is fine.
I read the one you all read, and it was just cousins, which made me think. I didn't realize it was brothers too.
We did a Patreon about the other ones that she's read. She read one that was triplets. And all the triplets, there's 3 holes. The triplets and the woman, the male triplets, and the woman all had to come at the same time to like make some big thing. I don't remember to like bond or to whatever. And so they kept having to be like, are you close? Are you close? Like it was like logistically difficult for them to all happen at the same time.
The timing of that just sounds like a headache.
But also Grace, I love you. Your books are outstanding. Why do they have to be related though? Why do they have to be triplets?
Why though?
Why? Because it's rough for me. It's rough that they're always related. Anyway,
there's I only did the one, and I listened to the episode you all brought up, and there were so many, like, I couldn't get past it. First of all, the butt vacuum, the one alien who was assigned to the front, and the one alien who was assigned to the back.
Yeah, there was a butt alien.
The fact that they then had to, like, DP in front of a crowd who was invited and might include your parents. Did I get that right?
Always includes your parents, and it was a conflict in the book that his dad wasn't gonna come. Attend the show.
Yeah, be careful with the word come.
He wasn't going to be an attendee to the show where him and his cousin DP'd this Earth girl. Rough.
It was
a CIA agent.
Who was the worst federal agent ever. She was
terrible at spying.
She was terrible at her job.
The worst. So yeah, we read that one. I mean, we've definitely read Crazier. We've read several Chuck Tingle books. We've read even some contemporaries that were, I think, crazier than the Ice Planet.
And that's why for all the nutso stuff that happens in this one, it keeps the plot and everything relatively simple. It's just like you crashed on a planet, and these aliens just want babies. Mm-hmm. There you go. There's a human woman who will give you a baby. Yeah, we're not trying to power. Or whatever we were doing with timing to power a thing. Yeah. I read another one where they used sex, and I think it was also I don't know what it is with double penetration and energy output, but they used sex to power a ship. Like they were traveling extra far, and so they had to all come together. And again, there was also timing was a thing in that one too. It was. I'm like, you know what? This is not a world I want to play in. I don't.
But you know what? That's somebody's catnip, and that's okay.
Yes, I don't want to kink shame. I was like, there's too much happening in this book for me. Yeah. So thank you for reading Ice Planet Barbarians and talking about it with me. Thank you for having me on.
I'm so happy you let me be a part of this.
I can't believe I'm still doing it. Like I was like, am I doing this? And yeah, I'm still doing a podcast all about the Ice Planet Barbarians. I don't know if Ruby Dixon has discovered it yet. I hope she has. I hope she likes it.
I hope so. All right, so what's left? What do we have to do?
I think that's pretty much it. We read it. We talked about it. We figured it out. where can people find all the Heaving Bosoms things?
Oh gosh, everywhere. Just Google Heaving Bosoms and you will find us. You will also find Sarah Wendell's Beyond Heaving Bosoms book, which is also great, but we have nothing to do with it. We are at Heaving_Bosoms on Twitter. We are at Heaving Bosoms on Instagram. We are Heaving Bosoms Podcast at gmail.com. Heaving Bosoms Podcast on Facebook. HeavingBosoms.com. We have a Patreon. We have a merch page. We have a reading challenge.
Yeah. Let's be real. You already know how to find Heaving if you're listening to this.
So. I don't know.
Probably.
If you want to join our Facebook group, it's the best. It's called the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. Even if you don't listen to our podcast and you have no interest in it, which is fine, it's a really great place on the internet for romance lovers.
It
so
is.
I would highly recommend our Facebook group.
I was in there before I quit Facebook completely, which has been a thing.
Come back.
I know. I've quit 6 times this year alone.
A lot of people either weren't on Facebook or quit Facebook and made a dummy profile just for the group.
See, that's a smart way to use social media.
But, maybe I can understand also not even wanting to engage with a group, which is totally fine. And your choice.
I will co-sign. It is a pretty cool group. People share book recs and romance recs and life advice.
Mm-hmm.
So
a lot of life advice too.
I love it. So I don't know if I won't include this if you don't want it. You're going to be at KissCon too, right?
Oh yeah, Mel and I are at right now is the plan for both of us to be at KissCon, and we're going to be on a panel.
You are?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We're gonna have a panel, and
What is your? Do you know your discussion, your topic yet, or are they just
no, we're Jenny Norbeck and Sarah McLean were doing a podcast panel.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
I love it. So yeah, I'll be there too.
You will?
Yes. So I'll be back at KissCon. I love it. So I'm really excited.
Okay.
I haven't gotten my transportation yet. Yeah. I haven't figured out how I'm going to get there yet. Well, I'll figure that out. So
good.
But
I'm excited.
So that's it for this episode. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And then it's just bye. I still don't know how to start or end these things. So
just say bye.
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 Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list, though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.